see everybody out today. Come to learn about diabetes, and just so happy that we can be together. So today's topic is going to be emergency management with diabetes. So it's really important to know how to handle diabetes on a day-to-day basis, but also when we're put into those special circumstances, whether we have a personal emergency or, even a bigger disaster such as, a flood or tornado or ice storm, even, something that's going to put a little bit of damper on our lives. So before we get started with that, I just wanted to remind you about next month's meeting. Going to be March the 28th, and in person, we're going to be at the Prestonsburg Extension Office Thursday at 10 o'clock, and going to be talking about neuropathy. So we know that diabetes can affect basically from the tops of our heads all the way to the bottoms of our feet, and that includes our nerves. So nerves, we think about it a lot in our feet and how we may need sensation in the bottoms of our feet and how dangerous that is. But it can also affect our stomach, our hands, so many different things that we don't maybe not think about. So that's going to be our topic next month. And I just want to remind everybody that we do have the Big Sandy Diabetes Coalition back there doing A1C. So if you've not had your A1C checked today, they're going to be doing those throughout the meeting. And so just so happy to see everybody coming out and checking in. That's wonderful. And hello, and glad to see our virtual friends online. We've got people all the way from Florida watching today. So that is exciting as well. We have our Hindman group on there too. And I also wanted to say that in April, we're going to start with our 9th location. I had a lady reach out to me a couple of weeks ago wanting to start up a group in Mingo County, West Virginia. So our little support group that we all started right here in August of 22 has now grown to 9 locations across 2 states and Zoom. So that's huge. I'm really excited and proud and so happy to watch it grow. So with that being said, we're going to turn it over to John. John's here with the Kentucky Department of Public Health, and he's going to talk to us all about and emergency.
My name is John Hunt. To introduce myself, I'm the good John Hunt. I'm not the Sheriff John Hunt. The lady John Hunt from the public office the last 2 years in Floyd County. Although me and Little John, the sheriff in Floyd County, we are cousins, and we both worked at the state police post at Pikeville at the exact same time. So we really was able to play havoc with people because they call and I'd answer the phone and he'd show up. They go, well, oh, you took the phone call and came. Sure we did. I'm with Kentucky Department of Public Health now, and I do emergency preparedness with health departments, hospitals, long-term cares, emergency management, and people preparing for it. The other thing that makes me a little easier to talk to you all about it is I am diabetic. I take a shot every morning. I wear my Dexcom so I can keep track of my blood sugar while throughout the day, and diabetes is a little to my heart. I'm actually right now forming a email and a Facebook message that I'm getting ready to send out to all the major restaurants, Texas Roadhouse, Bob Evans, Cracker Barrel, and all those, because how many of y'all go out and eat? How many of you are able to order a sugar-free dessert or have a sugar-free or diabetic side of the menu everywhere you go eat? Same as me. But whenever, as the Diabetes Coalition knows, and these lovely girls have probably educated you all, 47.3% of Kentuckians are either diabetic or pre-diabetic. 53% of the U.S. is either diabetic or pre-diabetic. That includes adults and juveniles. they're missing out on a lot of sales, aren't they? They're discriminating against us for being diabetic is what I'm putting in my letter to them, in my email, and my message to them, and then I'm going to post it on my Facebook and everywhere else. And I'll send it to you all in case you all want to, because I want to force them to have a sugar-free option and a diabetic option whenever we go out to eat. We don't have that opportunity. I'd like to be able to. On my own, I've had to learn how to make, sugar-free cake, a sugar-free peach cobbler, different things of that nature, because nobody has it for us. But I'll get off the soapbox on that part. But so whenever we're talking about emergency preparedness, and we have a lot of flooding, have ice storms. Does anybody know where Kentucky ranks in federally declared disasters for the U.S.? We're fifth. Out of all the states, we're fifth with federally declared disaster. That being said, how many have a shelter-in-place kit at home that you can self-sustain and survive for a minimum of 3 days if you're flooded in, you're snowed in, you're iced in, or you're anything of that nature? How many have a kid? Raise your hands good and high for me. They don't have a kid. So when I asked the question, I passed out a paper. It's called 20 Weeks to Preparedness. And without looking on it, how many gallons of water do you think a person has to have per day?
At least one.
At least one. How many in here have pets? Raise your hands good and high. I love my dog. I'll take my dog and kick the wife out.
I don't know. I don't know that.
Wrong.
Sit too close. Mine ain't here. I can say that.
I can't hear.
So, pets take a gallon of water per day. So on that list, that 20 weeks of preparedness, you're going to see several days there where it says buy 4 gallons of water. Also, we got to have water what to cook with. We got to have water to brush your teeth with. We got to have water to flush the commode with. So several days on there, you're going to see where it says 4 gallons of water. I think it adds up to, I think it's 20 gallons of water. I think it says to buy. How many have 20 gallons of water sitting in their house right now that they don't touch, that's ready for an emergency?
I got,
You got close to it? Okay. You know one person.
I know what. How many cases?
So, how many rotate their water out?
That's what I wanted to know. How long does it last?
So, in case you don't know it, even water has an expiration date. The water itself and the plastic bottle it's in. That plastic bottle has an expiration date, and if you go past that expiration date and you drink that water, it ain't going to kill you. It's going to have the awfulest taste ever was, and you're going to turn your nose up and not like that what it does to your taste buds. So about every 2 to 3 months, rotate your water out. Take it and be using it and replace it with new water. You want to have it. And so the other thing is you want to have food available. Now, I'm not talking about food that's in the freezer. I'm not talking about food that's in the refrigerator. I'm talking about stuff that you're going to be able to eat if you have to self-sustain and you have no electric, you have no water. I'm talking about, if you're going to have to buy innings, sardines and Tabasco sauce, sardines and mustard sauce. We all really, hey.
Don't rub your nose. Don't hold your nose up like that.
Robert hated them. I'm just like,
You're gonna have some stuff that you can set and eat and open. So how many still have a manual can opener? How many still have a manual pop opener? So seeing a few hands, seeing a few that don't have hands up. They still make manual things that you can set and open a can up all the way around.
Walmart right now.
They still have the openers out there that are round on one end and sharp on the other. Everybody remember what the round and the sharp end's for?
Yep,
What's it for?
and opener.
One opens it so you can pour out the can, the other one opens the pop bottle. Exactly. Very good. So, you need stuff like that. How many have an alternate heating source for their house that doesn't use electric or gas? Well, the hand started going down, didn't they? So there's a few things that you can do for an alternate heat source in your house that will keep you warm. Because most of us have electric heat. Electric can go out, right? A lot of us have backup gas, but gas lines can freeze or you can run out of propane or gas. So how many have seen them great, big, nice, round candles that have like 4 wicks at the top of them? You see them at Walmart, Lowe's, and some places. So you can get one of those, get you a big metal pie pan, and set it on it. So you can go and get, the great old big ceramic pots that you can put pots of plants and trees in and set outside. So you can get one of those ceramic pots and you can turn it upside down over top of that candle and it burning. It's already got holes in the bottom of it where the water, seeps out whenever you're watering your plants. So it lets it out. But that candle will heat that ceramic pot and it will radiate heat out into the room. And you will stay warm. It will keep you warm. It is an alternate heat source. It is an alternate way in the cold weather to be able to stay warm if you have no electric or you have no gas. Other things that you need to make sure that you know of. How many have wrote down the emergency 800 number if you have with your medical equipment? Have y'all got that wrote down anywhere that's real handy to be able to get up to? Might want to do that because in an emergency, can your equipment break? Yeah. You're going to want to know who to get up with. Yeah. How many have a weather radio in their house? That's not electric. Excellent. I love it. She has a one that you can crank. Red Cross makes some of those that way. Midland radios make some that way. Highly recommend you get one of those. It's an AM and FM radio and a weather radio, and it's got a crank on it. And you just crank it, and it powers it up. The other thing about it is it comes with a little dongle that can go onto the end of it. How many have a dumb phone? Raise your hand. I call it a dumb phone. It ain't smart because ever since I got it, I can't remember a phone number. I gotta go and scroll through and make it dial something for me. It turned me dumb. Before I could send and remember, I could remember numbers. Just like that. 432-6260 was Pike County Sheriff's Office. 886-8511 was Highlands Region. I called those all the time when I worked at the state police post, and I could remember numbers. Now it just turned me dumb. But it comes with, you can send off and get the dongle that fits your phone, and you can plug it into that little hand crank radio. You can sit there and keep cranking, and you can charge your phone without electric.
That you use.
It's a little dongle. It's just a little. I was not a spelling bee champion, so I can't tell you. I can say it, but I can't spell it.
Yeah, I
But
think that's
it's
right.
just a little cord, this little charging cable, and it plugs into the end of that hand crank radio, and you can charge your phone. You're going to be cranking for a while. It doesn't do it swiftly, but you can crank your phone, and you can get service for your phone. But you always want to make sure you got all the numbers wrote down somewhere to get to for all of your emergency medical equipment. Some of you, it might just be the 800 number to get up with your durable medical equipment provider. Some of it, it might be a different person. You might have bought it not through a durable medical equipment company. But you want to make sure you have those numbers handy. And you want to make sure you have them somewhere that if somebody comes to you, you know, one of the first responders come up to you, cause I've been a first responder since 1984. We can take that number and call and get help for, you know, for you with your equipment. If, you know, if you're, you know, can't make the phone call or you're, you know, in a shape that you need help, being able to get somebody to come in and do, help on that for you. The other thing is, get back to the dumb phone. How many in here, every one of you should know your 911 address, right? Okay, what's your 911 address?
12 MMA Lane, Martin.
112 MMA,
8 Lane.
Martin, Kentucky. So I'm assuming that when you turn up, that MMA lane, I want to assume that you live on the right side of the road. And you're probably 1/10 of a mile up there as soon as you turn up that lane. Yeah, I've never been to your house, have I?
No, but you know 911 geographics.
No, I know 911 addresses.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. So evens on this side and odds is on that side.
Even numbers is on the right, odd numbers is on the left. And the way it is the last two numbers of your 911 address tells me if you're on the left or right side of the road. Just like I said, evens on the right, odds on the left. She had one number in front of those last two. She tells me that she was 1/10 of a mile up that roadway. If she'd have been 1122, she would have been 1.1 miles up that roadway.
Mine's 104, Lord Quinn,
1064.
106.
1064. So you're 10 miles up on the right. Is that open-ended hollow? Coming up from which end?
460.
Okay, whichever way they come off addressing it, if you got a 1064, you're on the right whenever they said to make it from whenever they come off the main road, 10 miles up. If it's addressed, like I said, it depends on which end they done the addressing from, if it's an open-ended hollow.
If you go over 460, it's 1 mile on the left.
Or yes, okay, 1 mile on the, it should be on the right, 64. He had 1 mile. 1006. But, so yes. First digit after the two numbers is 1/10, then it's a miles, then it's double-digit miles. But that's how 911 and first responders read your address to get to you. You know, if it was like I said, 10, it should be 1 mile. If it was 1164, it should be 1.1 miles. And it depends on which way it goes. So if you're lost somewhere, now you can never say you're lost, because you can watch the addresses. As they get smaller in number, they come back to a main road. Then as you do that main road, as it gets smaller, you go the smaller numbers all the way back. You'll come back to ground zero right in the center of the main town in that county. For Johnson County, it'd be Paintsville. For Floyd County, it would be Prestonsburg. Prestonsburg, you would end up at the courthouse there at the red lights in the center of town. Paintsville, you should end up somewhere or another in the center of Paintsville here. You lower the numbers all the way back. So now you can never say you're getting lost. I never say I'm lost anyway. If I come up to somewhere and somebody tries to say I'm lost, I say I'm not lost. I've just never been here before. That's some of the other things. So some of the other things you can do with the dumb phone, and this is with the iPhones with iOS based. Androids are a little different. I can show if you have an Android, I can show you a little bit differently here in a little bit. But whenever you use the map on your iPhone, it's the map that's got the little A on it. So what I want everybody to do is take out your dumb phone and open up that map, the app on it.
I don't think we have that.
You got an Android or an iOS?
It's,
What is it on an Android?
I'll have to show it different here just in a
Okay.
second. So open up to your maps.
I don't have maps.
go back.
Where's your apps at?
Oh, that got it.
Yeah,
You got an Android?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll show Androids differently here in a little bit.
leave it right there. Leave that.
Google Maps. The maps that comes with your iPhone. It's that little map and it's got like an A in the middle of it. Take that.
There you is.
Oh. Once you get that. What? I'm glad you have your home phone pushed out. I'll tell you about your home phone here just in a second. So when you open that app up, in the top right-hand corner, there's a little arrow that's pointing up to the right. I want you to tap on that arrow one time. And now it's got a little blue dot kind of in the center of the screen, right? Okay, take your finger and tap on that little blue dot one time. And it should change the screen at the bottom of your phone. It says My Location. Whenever it changes that My Location, I want you to take your finger and just push that My Location up to where you got all My Location and the map is hidden. Just take and push it right straight up. So now down there at the bottom, it's got a little thing that says coordinates. And you all should have something other to the fact of 37.80. So now there's coordinates, and it's got, if you're ever lost, no matter where you're at, you can do just like I said, told you to do. That gives you the coordinates. That is the coordinates for exactly where you're standing at. And those with an Android, I'll do different here in a second. But that gives you the coordinates exactly where you're sitting at in your seat right now. You can actually give those coordinates to a 911 dispatcher. They can put those into the map that they've got in front of them, or anybody can put it into the map in front of them. And it will give them the location of exactly where you're at. And they can hit directions and get a officer or a fire truck or an ambulance straight to where you're at if you're out lost somewhere. We've had to use that several times with lost people and lost kids in the hills. They have a little bit of service. They can call us. They don't know where they're at. We talk them through that. They give us that. That's called a latitude and a longitude, and we can get them help. And then, like I said, with the Androids, it's a little different. So on an Android, I gotta find the maps on the Android. No, but I think Google Maps will do the same thing. So on Google Maps, you'll open it up. So on Google Maps, there's a little circle that has a dot in the middle of it with a circle with little tick marks around it. And you click on that little circle in the middle, it will center where you're at. It's that little circle right there. So when you tip on it, it will center. Get back. There we go. So it will center right where you're at. And then you just push up on it, scroll up. Well,
Yeah, it's hateful.
You know whose phone that is too, don't you?
is that her phone?
Yeah.
So when it does that, can you, do that? Touch on it. Then, it gives you your location back.
Location accuracy is low. Calibrate to improve your location accuracy. Calibrate.
Same location right now.
For everyone in the same room, it would bring us right to it. Right. So she's not sending you. Hers would be a little bit. But that will help you find out where you're at and always know where you're at. Oh, I keep forgetting, I gotta stay in front of that camera, don't I? I'm sorry, Ashley.
That's what I'm here for.
I'm used to moving around and not being a standing target.
It's okay.
So that's some of the stuff, now you know about alternate heating. You know about getting your 20 weeks to preparedness. And we do it over 20 weeks because everything that's on that sheet of paper, can we go out and buy it once? No. It costs a lot of money. So you go out and buy it a little bit at a time. Some of the other things that you'll see is how many don't raise your hand on this, but I'll put it a different way. You need to keep cash at home. The reason you need to keep cash at home is if we have a bad snowstorm or whatever, and there's no electric, how are you gonna be able to pay for something at the store? There's no electric and them kids can't make everything on that computer do and open the cash register drawer for them. How many of you knows how much change you're supposed to get back when you give them a $20 bill before they can figure it out on that little computer? If they don't have that little computer cash register, they're not gonna be able to give you change back. We used to own a business and it was frightening, these college kids that we employed that could not close the register drawer out at night without having to they couldn't do it with pen and paper. And I'd make them do it with pen and paper just because I was mean that way. And I said, I want to teach you something that they're not doing in school. I want to teach you how to add and subtract. And I would make them do it on paper because they can't do it. They can't give you change back. So always carry cash in your kit. If you have kids or grandkids, make sure that you have activities in that kit for them to do, such as crayons, which I like to do with crayons and coloring my own stuff. You ain't got nothing to do and you ain't got no TV to watch or videos to watch. So, have, little workbooks for you, puzzles, different things to keep yourself occupied in, because it's gonna be long days, before anybody is probably gonna be able to get to you, or they're gonna be able to get power back on.
Now we don't, I can't find it.
Also, make sure that you listen to your weather radio. Whenever we had the floods in 2022, July, people said they knowed it was flooding when they stepped out of their bed and they stepped into water because they weren't paying attention to the alerts that the National Weather Service is putting out. Now, how many hear those alerts about severe weather? Hear them all the time, right? How many of you actually pay attention and listen to it?
In our area, yeah.
Okay, that's good. They were pushing out the alerts, just like in 2012, they was pushing out the alerts that tornado was happening. It was coming. It was a for sure thing it was going to happen.
Yeah.
They pushed out the alerts that this is going to happen. We're going to have a flood and it's going to come quick. I have a lot of family that was in Breathitt County and Perry County. My little brother, my nephew to this day, if it comes a hard rain, they will have to go to school and get him because he is terrified that he's going to get flooded again like they did in 2022. I mean, he has so much anxiety from it that they can't control him. They can't keep him in school. They have to go get him pretty much hold him the entire time until the rain is over with. Pay attention to those alerts. Make sure that, you pay attention to it. People just got complacent and they didn't pay attention to it. People lived, I was talking to one friend of mine, she probably lived 250, 300 feet away from a creek. The creek on 476. The creek normally in front of her house was like 3 to 4 inches deep, maybe 2 foot wide. That's all the creek was going by her house. Well, when that rain happened, that creek on 476 reached 30 feet in height. She lived in a 2-story house that had a stoop coming up and then into her house. She said she looked outside, seen the water coming up. When it got to the stoop of her house, 45 minutes later, it was at the ceiling, the 8-foot ceiling of her first floor in 45 minutes. It comes quick. You got to be ready to go. Been doing this since 1984. Is the first time ever I called for helicopters to pluck people off rooftops because we couldn't get to them. Pay attention to those alerts. Have those weather radios. Always be weather mindful of what's going on. Like I said, have those kits. Have those kits ready. You can put those kits in a tote. You can put them in a great big old plastic garbage can that's got a lid on it. Get those kits out. Look at them about every 3 months. Know what your expirations are. You got that list in front of you. Make a list when you put it on the tote. Write stuff on it if it's got an expiration date on it. I always say an expiration date is just a suggestion, except on milk. Because regular milk, in terms of buttermilk, and I don't drink buttermilk, because it gets chunky. And nothing worse than pouring that out in the glass. Thought you had good milk and it comes out in chunks, right? So look at your expiration dates, change your stuff out. That's the biggest thing that you want to be able to do. Be ready to go. How many always keep their car at least a half a tank or more in gas all the time? Excellent. May have extra propane tanks for their grill outside.
You got any extra tanks
Huh?
with a grill?
You got 3 tanks? Are they all full at the same time? Good.
I empty one and fill it back.
Excellent. That I'm proud of you. A lot of people wait to get that third one, then they will go fill them. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. They do have them in battery powered. And one thing I will say, anything that you put in your kit that takes batteries, try to get the same thing. Where they either take all AAAs, or they all take AAs, or they all take Cs or Ds, because it's a lot easier to put a 10 or a 20 pack worth of AA batteries in your kit that powers everything than trying to have 10 of AAs and 5 of Cs and 3 of Ds, and try to keep all your battery stuff the same, either triple, double, C or D. Makes it easier on you when you're changing those batteries out. Reason I like the hand crank stuff is batteries go bad. If you don't have enough batteries, then you're out of luck. And so you can, but with the crank, they make hand crank flashlights, they make hand crank radios, they make all of that so much easier. Hand crank. Your arm might get tired of cranking it, but you will never be without power if you got a hand crank on it. A good question. Always keep all the battery, all battery powered stuff the same. All double, all triple, all whatever. So now comes interactive portion of mine. What do you all have as far as questions for emergencies and preparing for it, especially diabetic? Because on that, you're going to see, on there, I got one day that you need to have, you may need to make sure you have an extra glucometer. You got to make sure you got extra strips for it. You got to make sure you have extra, glucose tablets. Different things, on your diabetic side is on this list that you got to have extra of, because our meter, can the meter go bad? Yeah. So you gotta have one. I've got, I've got the sensor that I wear on my arm. I'm not gonna say which one because I've had both. I think there's three out there now, but out of the three, I've had two out of the three. They've both been good for me. I'm not gonna advocate one over the other, but the sensors, one is good for 14 days, one's good for 10 days. I can't get to the store, my sensor goes out, how am I going to check my blood sugar? I better have a manual one backup, hadn't I? So I better have enough, little needles to stick, strips to read it. Us on the diabetic side, we got to have a little extra to be able to self-sustain for 3-4 days. Uh, yes, sir. Yes, some of the meters, you have to calibrate. Uh, I don't have, I went away from those that I have to calibrate. Now they calibrate whenever I put the first test strip in, it calibrates for me. Uh-huh. Yes, you do. Uh, with the different sensors that I've got, both types I've had, I do have to keep it calibrated. I don't have a liquid to calibrate it. I just have to calibrate it through my manual. Oh, with the Dexcom meter you do?
Well, any of them you do.
Right. Yes. Yes. With the Dexcom, yeah. Whenever I put my new sensor on, I usually leave it on for 24 hours and then I match it to a manual and see if it's off, which way. It's always, I have to bump it up. It's never below for me. Yeah. Which manual meter do you have? Because none of my manual meters take a solution. Well, no, I'm talking about, right. So you're talking about the manual meter that comes with it. Yes. Does your contour take solution? Sometimes. Yes. Okay. My contour, I've got one that's kind of almost like a rounded triangle shape. The little contour, it's dark gray. Mine doesn't take a solution. Uh, uh, okay. Okay. Good point.
So if your meter comes with control.
Yeah. So yeah, if your meter comes, yeah, have extra control solution. Good point. I didn't I didn't know they still had the meters that took the solution for control. Manually. That's what I do. After 24 hours, I will manually take my blood sugar and match it to what my sensor says. Okay, good point.
all they read one. I had the issue of every time I can remember something like this. On the message, and when I would check, I should have manually.
Yeah, whenever you hit it. One thing I had to do, I have a bad habit of, first time I done it, it hurt like a hog bite. I caught it on the door frame and ripped it plumb off my arm. Yeah, it hurt like a hog bite. So after that, they make these, transparent square, adhesive strips. They're probably 2 to 3 inches and they're just totally transparent that you can put over something. I bought a bunch of them and after I put my sensor on, I would put it on over top of it. It even helped it made the stick, even now the shower, it didn't get as wet. And it made it a lot easier if I hit up against the door frame or, I would pull it off, sitting inside a car, cutting somebody out and I'd turn, my arm would catch the B post of the car and jerk it off or something. But after I put that adhesive patch over top of it, it helped keep me from ripping it off my arm. And y'all do change arms, every other placement, right? Put it on your right arm this time. When you replace, put it on your left, put it over the same place you just had it.
I had breast cancer on the right side.
Oh, really? Did I know that?
Then
Glad you called it. Something else, she brought up cancer. Make sure you have sunscreen, especially for the summertime. You don't want to walk around with a big scar like this if you get from skin cancer. And they have to go in and cut it out. Especially if you don't pay attention to it and it's been like that for 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 months and it's dug in good and deep and they have to go in deep and cut it out. Pay attention to it. Any other questions? Everybody going to go get them some sardines and Tabasco sauce. Spotted meat.
That's double key.
It's like an MRE, meal ready to eat. You're going to get one of those, be sure to use all the time. He got stuff from the VA, so I'm sure you've had some MREs in your past. So do you agree, use all the condiments that comes in the pack to have taste? Any other questions? Y'all should have to be full of questions.
Covered it all.
I doubt that I covered it all. Yes, ma'am. I couldn't.
Keeping peanut butter on hand.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can put anything in your kid that you want. Peanut butter, Nutella, whatever you want for your kids. And, whatever you're going to eat. Peanut butter is good. Peanut butter will help raise my sugar if I'm low. Unfortunately, I can't have peanut butter a lot because it will drive my sugar up.
that's balance. Insulin, yeah, that's great. You can only have so much at a time.
Yep.
You have more. What do you do in a situation like that?
So I refill my prescriptions as soon as I can. And by doing that, it took me about 6, 7 months, but I have probably a month's worth of my prescriptions that I have in excess of. I've got a month's worth. If I couldn't get to the pharmacy, I could still get all my stuff done for a month, even on my insulin.
I got 90 days on mine.
Another thing that you can even think about keeping your supplies in is a large cooler. So with like insulin, if you needed to store in a cooler with some ice, you would already have it because your supplies are in the cooler already. So that would be a good idea. Or, one of the insulated freezer bags to have that in there too.
True, but
Yeah,
like I said, if I get my medication, my pill medication, 90-day supply. They're staggered, so you never know when you're gonna be out of work. Some of them I can do without. But there's some of them I can't.
right. Are they automatic fill for you, or do you have to call them in?
So I call them.
Okay,
Mine's
you just
automatic.
you need to talk to, next time you go and get a prescription filled, ask the pharmacist, what's the first date that I can call and get this one refilled? I guarantee you it'll be 4 or 5 days before you actually run out. I've gotten I keep getting mine a little bit, 2 or 3, 4 days early, so I can keep my 30-day supply up. And then I just rotate it out so that it never expires. What I have built up, is what I'll use this 30 days and set my other one back. But yeah, I've done it, and it took me about 6, 7 months, but I would get my prescription filled just as soon as I could, that the insurance would allow. And I was able to build it up. It took me a little bit, but I was able to build me up a 30-day supply. Because I never know when, there've been several times that I've had my prescriptions getting ready to come up due, and like I got deployed and sent to North Carolina for Hurricane Dorian, or I got sent to Western Kentucky for the tornadoes. Like with the flooding, I went to work on July 28th, and I worked 16-hour days and never had a day off again until August 28th. Made it kind of hard to get to the pharmacy, so I was glad that I had some backup stuff. But get your prescriptions filled as soon as you can, and you will be able to gradually build up you might not build you up a 30-day supply, but you can at least build you up a week's worth of supply, extra pills.
Any other questions for him regarding emergency? Any questions online? Okay, well, I'll take that as a no. So thank you very much, and we'll give him a.
So today, Ashley wanted me to make the creamy chicken noodle soup. I'll have the recipe there. This was a really super easy recipe to put together. I'm gonna go ahead and make this one early so that I couldn't demo it in front of you because it's recipe, your cost recipe. So we would still be making. So I kind of came in a little bit early and just went ahead and kind of pre-cooked, put it in a pot and boiled it and got everything done. Then I transferred it to the crock pot to keep it warm. You can do that too, but if you're like me and a lot of other people, you're getting up, going to work, you go ahead and get things ready, stick it in that crock pot, turn it on, and go to work, and come home, and you got dinner ready. So it's pretty cool to be able to do that.
I'm
So
always
before we
afraid
get
to leave
started
it
on
plugged
the
up.
lesson, I wanted to introduce our new FCS agent. It's Macy Stewart. She is amazing. She's been here how many? 3 weeks? She's amazing. She's got a lot of plans coming up, a lot of programming coming up. We're just gonna have a hoot with her.
I'm super excited, and I'm so excited to watch. Yes, you guys. So this is what the front of our newsletter is going to look like from the office for spring. So if you're interested in receiving a newsletter, make sure that you let either me or Miss Candace in the back know. Candace is a familiar face. She's been here for a few years. So you guys, if you don't know me, you definitely know Candace. So make sure that she has your email, or your mailing address, whichever way you want to receive it. Within this newsletter, you're going to have recipes. You're going to have events that Elaine's going to be doing with ARH for your diabetes class. I'm also going to do a program with ARH, but it's going to be heart healthy focused. And so that'll be in here as well. Just different little tidbits of information, health bulletins, different things like that. So if you want to receive that, make sure you let one of us know. And if you need anything that's SDS focused, nutrition, family, finances focused, we're your team for that. So just call the office and ask for one of us. So good to meet you guys.
If y'all want to stand up for a second, get a good stretch. That's what I like to do. I've said for a while, I'm gonna get up and move my legs a little bit, just get a good stretch in. One of the things about our new curriculum, they added little stretch tips and exercise tips. I thought, well, I'm not going to keep all that blood flow because it's good after you sit for a little bit. My husband hates to travel with me because I don't know, like every 2 hours, I'm like, stop. He's like, no, you're not going to the bathroom. I just need to get out and walk around. I gotta get my blood flowing because as we get older, we tend to swell and things seem to settle in places we don't want them to. So anyway, I went ahead and y'all go ahead and sit down now. You've got some stretch on. This recipe is, like I said, really super easy to make. The ingredients were, and I used the low sodium chicken broth, chicken, water, carrots, celery, mushrooms. Got a little moment where I thought, what is garlic pepper? Have you ever heard of that before?
Mhm.
I have not. We're like, yeah. So anyway, I put this together. Like I said, I went ahead and cooked it up and then put it in the crock pot. This is a really good recipe, very tasty. It was starving me to death while it was cooking. So I decided to go ahead and do our lesson on fruits and vegetables. And I'll just kind of cover the vegetable part real quick if you want to turn to page 4 and 5. Our vegetables are very important, especially with all the vitamins and nutrients that we have. The more colorful they are, the more it provides for us. Diet's rich in potassium because a lot of our vitamins come from that, or our potassium comes from our veggies. Those veggies would be our sweet potatoes, white potatoes, beans, tomato products such as paste and juice, beet greens. Then it also helps with cholesterol, those vegetables that would help with that. Also help lower our risk for heart disease. Vitamin A is something else that we get from our our vegetables. Those vegetables would be deep yellow vegetables, carrots, yams, and dark green vegetables, like your broccoli or your deep leafy greens. I love all of those things. The older I get, the more I'm wanting these types of vegetables. And I think they taste a whole lot better as I've gotten older. As I was younger, not so much. Maybe it's because I've figured out new ways to cook them because we have a plethora of recipes out here. But our bodies do crave these nutrients. So as you start eating these vegetables and the fruits, your body will start to acclimate to them and start liking them, and your taste buds do too. So give them a chance. If it's something that you don't normally like, just take a few bites, try it in different ways or prepare it in different ways. It always helps just try to get that nutrient in your system. On here, this page here, I like this one because we've got another pup that's got all the pretty fruits and veggies on it, and it shows when they're in season, and I think that's just really eye-catching. You'll notice that in the spring, which is what we're coming into, and our farmers market will be opening up soon, and we will be giving out vouchers again, so be watching out for that. I don't know about the other counties when we will be doing theirs, but we will be giving out the vouchers, so we will advertise. So I think it's gonna start in June, farmer's market will. So we hope to have all the farmers we had last year, and we want more too. So if you all farm or do anything like that, there's gonna be a meeting coming up soon. Just listen for our ads for that as well. That and you can sell your produce. As you see, our spring is coming up, so we got asparagus, broccoli, peas, spinach, turnips, carrots, those kind of things. Tomatoes, beef, all that back in that would be having. Again, adding these nutrients is very beneficial to your health. We're all different, so what I might need more of, you wouldn't. So that's why there's such a wide variety of fruits and veggies out there. What I might eat and have an intake that helps me might not help you, just the same as with your diabetes. One person can do one, might have habits of one thing, and getting up and checking your glucose in the morning and things that you eat, it might not help the other person. Everybody's got to find their special niche that they have, make that work. But you do have to follow those rules. Don't ever step outside the rules because that's the basic that is helping you. On this back page, I love this part because it tells you how long things last. Again, this is very important because you don't want food spoilage, you don't want food wasting. A lot of times when we purchase from the farmer's market, we're buying a huge bulk because the first thing we think of when we go home, especially if you have a garden, you're going to preserve these fruits and vegetables. So that's why you buy them in large bulk. But I have seen some people come to the farmer's market or the grocery store and they buy all these huge amounts of vegetables and they take them home and they set them out and they only eat a little bit and they waste it. And that is so sad. So that's something else that we'll be doing later this year too, is teaching and having classes on preserving food and how to take care of that, whether it be that you can it or freeze it or dry it. There's so many ways to preserve your food. We've got some ladies in here that I know that do that, and they're good right there. All the time, like what you got.
What you do?
It's very important to learn these ways of doing this. Like he spoke earlier about if you have bad weather and you have to have no electricity. Well, if you can turn on food and preserve your fruit and vegetables, you're going to be sitting pretty good. You're not going to be wanting and wondering. So that's another good way to think of it as well. This is like I said, our new curriculum. I love the way they've set it up. And I'm going to try to hurry because I know you are getting tired. You've got the cooking corner. It's got the fresh vegetables on, and it gives you tips on how to preserve things, wash things, be safe with your food. It also, and this is what I like too, a lot of the recipes that we have on our cards out here in the hall or in our calendar, they are starting to add that into our curriculum. So it's kind of like a little cookbook comes right along with it. So we have got the time roasted carrots. I think if you've ever come to any of my other classes, I have made this before. They are very tasty. The festive honey butter corn, that's another good one. I've tried that too. The down home greens, we've made that here as well. A lot of these we have made. If you come to any of my other classes, you've probably tried some. I don't think I've done them about. Really good. Again, here's something else. If you don't like a lot of vegetables or fruits or things, a lot of times it's the combination of things that you prepare them with. This recipe has celery, carrots, onions, thyme, and the garlic pepper that I had never heard of. Those things, some like an onion, I don't like to eat an onion by itself. I just don't. But guess what? I love it when it's cooked with other things. I don't like to eat carrots by themselves, but I love them when they're cooked with other things. So a lot of times foods bring out and complement each other to the point where it's going to make you like them. And you're going to want to try them with other things. So this says get creative in the kitchen and vary your flavors your way. So it lets you know how you compare up some of your vegetables with other seasonings and vegetables to make it taste really good. So I really like that. I thought, oh, I wish I'd had that when I was younger. That way I would have kind of known this sooner. Because I was a picky eater, and as I've gotten older, like I said, your body starts kind of craving things, the nutrients that you need. Do you all have any questions? Because I'm back to the part where it did. We gave you a chance to do it earlier.